Muy buenas tardes, bienvenidos a Semana TV. Es un placer estar con ustedes una vez más y hoy tenemos un invitado muy especial que nos visita desde Arabia Saudita. Es nada más y nada menos que Su Excelencia Adel Al-Jubeir. Él es ministro de Asuntos Exteriores y hace parte del gabinete, es miembro del gabinete del gobierno del Reino de Arabia Saudita. Y para nosotros es un verdadero placer saludarlo. Él también es enviado especial para el cambio climático y es un honor que nos visite aquí en Colombia. His Excellency Adel Al-Jubeir, it's an honor talking to you. Thank you very much for this interview.
My pleasure.
Our very first question is, have you been in Colombia before or this is your first time?
This is my second trip. I was here in February of last year, and I had very productive and very constructive meetings with the foreign minister and vice president at the time and with other officials, and we were looking at ways to broaden and deepen and strengthen the bilateral ties between our two countries.
What is the main purpose of your visit to Colombia this time?
The main purpose is to take a relationship to a completely different level. We have had very friendly relations with Colombia since we established diplomatic relations. We believe that, we don't believe. We see the world in similar ways. We believe in the importance of the sovereignty of nations. We believe in the principle of non-interference. We believe in the respect for international law, and we believe in the resolution of conflicts through peaceful means. That's what Colombia believes. Our priority is domestic. We want to improve the quality of life for our people. We do that by having a transparent and effective public sector, by having a dynamic economy, by having world-class investment laws, by having world-class education system, world-class infrastructure, world-class health system, by diversifying our economy, opening up new areas for investment, tourism, mining, recreation, entertainment, artificial intelligence, renewable energy, electric cars, all of these. And we look at connecting with the world, and we want the world to connect with us. We want to instill a culture of moderation and tolerance and inclusivity in our country so that we become a stronger, more resilient, more productive, more prosperous society. This is all part of our Vision 2030, which Saudi Arabia is implementing. And I believe that the same principles of focusing on the domestic situation, focusing on economic development, focusing on jobs, focusing on improving the quality of life and the standards of living is the same principle that Colombia is pursuing. And then, of course, our economies are complementary. They're not competitive. So you look at the two countries that look at the world in very similar terms, that look at themselves and the priorities in very similar terms, that have tremendous opportunities before them, and we say we need to take advantage of this for the benefit of both countries. So, we recently had a very large delegation from Saudi Arabia representing various businesses and government entities that met with people here in Colombia and had great opportunities. We're looking at opportunities in energy and renewable energy, in agriculture, in hospitality, in healthcare, in green hydrogen, in infrastructure, and in many, many other areas where we think there are opportunities for our two people. And then, of course, in terms of our views or our responsibilities as countries in the global system, we both are countries that are working to promote peace and stability and security in our region and also in the world.
Is there any Saudi investment interest, His Excellency, in Colombia, specifically in a short term? For example, in this year, 2023, that is very special for your relationship. Is there any investment you will have to or you want to do here in Colombia this year?
The issue of investments and when they happen and so forth is really handled by our Ministry of Investment and our Ministry of Commerce and by other entities of our government. And of course, the investments themselves happen through private enterprises and private investors. Of course, we have our Public Investment Fund, which looks to invest in globally. It is one of the largest investment funds in the world. I know that there is an interest to invest and to trade and to develop opportunities for our two countries. And as I mentioned, we had a very large trade delegation that included more than 50 representatives from various elements of Saudi Arabia: the Public Investment Fund, the health sector, the agricultural sector, the banking sector, the trading sector, the tourism and hospitality sector, all of the energy sector. They were here and they met with officials in your government and they met with counterparts. And I would be very, very surprised if we don't see a number of significant agreements made that result in investments that are beneficial to both sides.
His Excellency, as a significant oil producer, how are your thoughts, or what do you think about this decarbonization process in the world? What are your thoughts about it?
We are very committed to combating climate change, confronting the challenges of climate change, improving our environment. And we're not just committed by words, we're committed by deed. We have one of the most extensive programs in the world in the sense of, we call it the circular carbon economy, where we produce energy more efficiently and more cleanly. We don't have leaks, we don't have flaring, we don't have... and we make sure, and we capture the carbon and we sequester it and we remove it. We do the same thing across in our industrial areas. We have programs that involve turning waste into energy, that involve standards like lights and windows and doors and insulation to reduce consumption. We're looking at planning our cities to make them more efficient so people drive less and they have more time to enjoy their life, and we reduce consumption. We have plans where we naturally increase removal of carbon, and that involves the planting of up to 10 billion trees and shrubs in Saudi Arabia over the coming decades. We have a Middle East Green Initiative that involves 23 countries in the region, where we're looking to plant up to 40 billion shrubs and trees in the region. So we combat desertification, we plant more trees, we remove carbon naturally, more than our share, and we improve the quality of the air. We have programs that involve marine life, that involve wildlife, that involve plastics, that involve fisheries. We are committed to this, and we will continue to be committed, because we want to be an example for what can happen when a country is committed to confronting the challenges of climate change and to dealing with the environment. On the issue of the transition will take very, very long time. And we are involved, we are one of the biggest investors in solar energy, in wind, in hydro, in electric cars, in green hydrogen. We are working to becoming the largest exporter of green hydrogen in the world. That's a commitment. We are integrating and linking electricity grids in the region so we can transport the electricity more efficiently, and we're looking at ways to even transport them into Europe. So this is an area we're looking at. But having said all of this, we need to make sure that we don't have underinvestments in hydrocarbons. The ability to produce oil and gas is limited by the size of the fields and limited by the investments in exploration and production and development. We see a major underinvestment in this sector, which means that the ability to increase production is limited, if not non-existent. The ability to maintain production is eroding, and which means that as demand goes up, we will get to a point where we will see prices increase because there is no more production. And so we say when we have said since the 1980s that the world needs to find other sources of energy to meet the future demand for energy, because oil and gas production are going to be limited because of the lack of investment in many parts of the world, and because of the natural composition of the energy fields. And so we are committed to combating climate change, and we are committed to the environment, and we are committed to providing the world with a clean, secure, and economical source of energy. And we believe that the challenges can be resolved if we deal with them rationally and scientifically, and if we remove the emotions.
His Excellency, let's talk about the relationship with Colombia so far. Today, we think it's great. You have been here talking with some members of the government. But how was before? It has been always be very good relationships with Colombia, or it have changed with the new government?
We have had good relations with Colombia, for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Philosophical outlook. We're both peace-seeking nations. We both want work towards peace and security in our area. We both want to reach out to others, and this is what we do. So we're aligned in those areas. Now, the problem is the distance, and we have made the decision that we need to be more involved, because if you're not there, nothing happens. We are opening an embassy in Colombia because we want to have a presence here. And we look forward to Colombia opening an embassy in Riyadh, so we have a permanent presence there that will increase. We have increased the amount of trade, the amount of visits between officials and private sector between our two countries. We are looking also at expanding the relationship beyond political trade and investment and into cultural, educational, tourism, so that we have a comprehensive, well-rounded area. And we're looking at offering scholarships to students from Colombia to study at Saudi universities. We're looking at Colombian universities as a potential place where Saudi students can study, because students are ambassadors. Students are bridges that remain between our two countries for a lifetime. And the more bridges we have, the more ambassadors we have, the closer the relationship becomes. The more cultural exchanges we have, the more we know about each other's history, the more we know that we have a common humanity. So that also enriches the relationship. The more trade we do, the more business we do, the more profit is generated for both sides, the more profitable the relationship becomes. And in the political area, the way we look at diplomacy is in very similar terms. How we see the international system, the importance of the rule-based order, the importance of the United Nations, the importance of international law, resolving disputes through peaceful means, negotiating end to conflicts with people in your area as well as beyond your area, so that we can have a more stable, more peaceful world, because it allows us to go back to what is most important to us in Saudi Arabia and you in Colombia, which is working on making the lives of our people better and more prosperous and more stable. Our objective is to empower our youth, to empower women, to empower our society, to allow people to live to their full potential, and to allow them to realize their hopes, their dreams, and their ambitions.
His Excellency, about the opening embassy of Saudi Arabia here in Colombia, do you have any date? Or maybe tell us if it's going to be very soon or this year. Do you have any date in mind?
We've already started it.
You already started?
We're already started it. We sent a delegation from the foreign ministry to come in and begin to look for locations for the offices and locations for the residents, to look at connect with the foreign ministry in Colombia and to connect with the relevant authorities in Colombia. So as we speak, the process of opening an embassy is underway. And I would say the same with regards to the Colombian embassy in Riyadh. So when physically somebody will turn the key, I can't tell you, I'm not a contractor, but I can tell you that the process started actually last year, and our hope is that we will complete it by this year. And so we're working towards that goal, and we look forward to having a permanent mission in Colombia so that we can be in constant and in daily contact with each other.
His Excellency, you have been the former ambassador to your country in the United States. How do you see the relationship between the United States and your country today?
The relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States is a historic relationship, and it's a strategic relationship. We have many important issues in common. We have a strong security relationship. We have a strong trade and investment relationship. We have a strong people-to-people relationship. America is one of the largest investors in Saudi Arabia. We are one of the largest investors in the US. We have challenges in the region that we work together to overcome, whether it's terrorism, whether it's extremism, whether it's radicalism. We have challenges of protecting maritime security. So it is a very strong relationship. But also, both countries are independent countries, and Saudi Arabia has strong ties with other countries around the world because we believe in engagement, and we believe in reaching out, and we believe in cooperating with everybody. But our relationship with the US is very, very strong.
His Excellency, our neighbor Venezuela is a very lovely country. We really love our neighbor here in the region, and we see that the United States have put some sanctions against the country, against Venezuela. What do you think about those sanctions from United States to our neighbor?
It's really, I can't comment on a situation that is really far away from where we are. Our approach is we believe that engagement is important, and we believe that working towards security and stability is important, and we believe in building bridges, not closing bridges.
And finally, I have to ask you about this because we are very concerned around the world about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And we would like to know your opinion about this conflict. What do you think about this terrible thing that is happening right now between those countries? What do you think?
We believe it's important that we find a way to resolve this stop the conflict and resolve the outstanding issues peacefully. We don't accept the violation of international borders, and we voted for the UN General Assembly resolution to that effect. We also don't believe in the annexation of territory, and we also voted for that. We believe that we should work towards a ceasefire, and we should work towards getting the two sides to the table in order to negotiate a settlement. We don't believe that escalation is helpful because it's very dangerous. We have very good relations with Russia, and we have very good relations with Ukraine, and we are able to talk to both of them. And I believe that because we have good relations with both of them, we were able to have some success in negotiating a exchange of prisoners of war. These were individuals from several countries that were able to return to their countries. We were able to contribute to the opening up of the ports and for the export of grains from Ukraine in order to minimize damage to the world's food supply. And we were able also to work in terms of the release of the American athlete. So we talked to both sides. We talked to our friends in the international community, and we emphasized the importance of de-escalation, not escalation, de-escalation, and moving towards a negotiated settlement peacefully, because the continuation of this conflict is tremendously expensive for the world and tremendously destructive. It has had an impact on the energy supply of the world. It has an impact on the food supply of the world. And we want to see how this conflict can be removed.
His Excellency, finally, you are going to visit other countries around the region, or is just Colombia the
Yes,
main
I
part?
was in Paraguay, Uruguay, Chile, Colombia, and I go to Panama. And last year I was actually in 10 countries. In addition to those 5, I was in Peru, Ecuador, Guyana, Suriname, and Costa Rica, plus the 5 I'm visiting now. And it's part of our effort to engage, to reach out, and to actually show up, because as the saying goes, 90% of life is showing up. And so we want to broaden and deepen our relationship with Colombia and with the Central and South America, because we know that there are a lot of very similar outlook that is shared in our foreign policy as well as in our domestic priorities, and that there are a lot of opportunities that are available. So this is where we are. We have and also to talk to people about what Saudi Arabia is doing in terms of our domestic agenda, our implementing our Vision 2030, as I mentioned, having a dynamic, innovative society that is empowering of youth, empowering of women, new areas for investment. We are building incredible cities that are at a completely different level of thinking than prior. We're building cities that will be run without cars, that are completely run on renewable energy, where quality of life is extremely high and efficiency is extremely high. And these are cities that have never been built before, very ambitious, and you can see them. We have a number of projects in Saudi Arabia that are really transformative. And this is all part of our ability to desire to be on the forefront of innovation, be on the forefront of technology, in order to provide opportunity for our people, and especially our young, to have a very, very positive future. And we're very excited about this, to the point where we are applying to host the 2030 Expo in Saudi Arabia in 2030, because it coincides with our Vision 2030, and because we want the world to come to Riyadh, and we also to see Saudi Arabia, and we want Saudi Arabia and visitors in Saudi Arabia to see the world. So we look forward to this exhibit. We look forward to Colombia hosting this exhibit, and we also appreciate Colombia's support for Saudi Arabia's membership.
His Excellency, thank you very much for your time. I know
for Saudi Arabia's hosting.
Hosting, yes, sir. Thank you very much for this time with us. We understand you have a very short time, and we hope you have enjoyed Colombia so far. We have many good things here, and thank you for being here today in Semana TV.
Thank you for having me. Your country is a remarkable country. Your history is a remarkable history. Your achievements are remarkable achievements, and I wish you and your country all the best in the future. I have no doubt that you will be going from one higher level to another high level, and I also have no doubt that the partnership between our two countries that is now beginning to flourish and blossom is going to be stunning in its depth and breadth and strength as we move forward in the future. So I look forward to that, and I look forward to coming back, and I hope you will come and visit us and see Saudi Arabia and see some of the things that I mentioned.
Will be our pleasure. Thank you very much, His Excellency. Él es Su Excelencia Adel Al-Jubeir, quien nos acompañó hoy, está de visita aquí en Colombia y él es ministro de Asuntos Exteriores y hace parte del gabinete del Reino de Arabia Saudita que nos visita aquí en Colombia. Muchas gracias.